Hey guys, welcome to the weekly offseason recap where we go over all the offseason moves that you missed this week. Starting off, we got the New York Mets making some interesting pitching decisions. Frankie Montas has been DFA'd after a subpar season plagued with injuries, and it doesn't look like he's making a return next year anyways. What I think is super interesting though is that Kodai Senga is apparently extremely available for the Mets this offseason. I'm curious as to what this means or what we should expect from the New York Mets this next season. Part of me thinks that they could be starting to make a ploy for a big trade, possibly a Tarek Skubal, which I think out of all the teams available in Major League Baseball, I think the Mets are the one team that can get that trade done, maybe with a Jonah Heim or someone like that. Forgive me if I butchered that pronunciation, by the way. Next up, we got some news that Rasiel Iglesias ended up re-signing with the Braves on a one-year deal. A bunch of teams put out some offers on Iglesias, including the Dodgers, who are still looking to bolster that bullpen. Even though this might not be too exciting, it is a little bit curious to see what Iglesias' mindset is here. I guess first we gotta consider, do we think the Braves are gonna kind of return to form, or are they gonna replicate what they did last season? Either way, this is a really big move for the Braves. I'm glad they were able to bring him back. I think this makes a lot of sense. Hold on to a strong arm. I know he had a rough beginning of the last season. However, overall, he's still an elite closing and relieving pitcher. Now, next up, we've started to hear some more rumors of the Pirates' budget this offseason. And with the impending lockout and Paul Skeens' Pirate tenure slowly inching towards the end, does this mean we could actually see a Pirate contending team? The big news around this is that apparently they offered Josh Naylor a big deal before he up and re-signed with the Mariners, not to spoil a later topic. Reports are also saying that the Pirates are in on free agent Kyle Schwarber currently. Does a bat like a Josh Naylor, Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso change the outlook for the Pirates season? I think it comes without saying that the Pirates have one of the best rotations in baseball headed by Paul Skeens. And with some young talent like Spencer Horwitz, O'Neal Cruz, I don't think it's crazy to say that one or two impact bats could really turn that whole team around. Of course, we're going to have to see where this goes. Will the Pirates actually spend? What is that budget really going to end up looking like? They're rumoring over $100 million, but we're going to have to just find out. Next up, like I just spoiled, Josh Naylor has finally re-signed with the Seattle Mariners for 5 years. I think this is huge for the Seattle Mariners. Josh Naylor was a huge part of their playoff run this year. And I think not only does the city love him, but he fits so well in that uniform. One of probably what I would consider maybe a top 10 first baseman in baseball finally gets paid, gets a good deal, and can settle down. Even though I haven't posted any predictions on Josh Naylor yet, this was my original prediction as well. I think it just made too much sense. I am a little shocked that it happened this early in the offseason though. But I don't have too many complaints. I hope the Mariners continue to make moves and make a push for the World Series again next year. Next up in the offseason, we have 4 players who ended up accepting their qualifying offer. Now, when we were originally looking at the list of players who received a qualifying offer, I didn't think there was many who were going to take it. Now, I was quite shocked to see the 4 players that did, and we'll start at the bottom. Gleyber Torres ends up accepting the qualifying offer in Detroit. I'm assuming because he's either happy playing there, or maybe thinks that he's just now reaching the peak of his career. I really thought he was going to get a couple to 3-year deal if he opted out of that, but hey, I'm happy for Gleyber, and I'm happy for Detroit too. I think he made a really good big impact on that team this year. Next up, which I'm still extremely confused about, is that Shota ended up accepting the qualifying offer from the Cubs after opting out of his long-term deal. Many people are speculating that with the impending lockout, that maybe he would prefer the 1-year deal. That way, in case there is some sort of Major League Baseball lockout, he can end up re-signing back in Japan. Now, I think that probably makes the most sense because I've been so lost with the Cubs and Shota the past couple weeks here. Next up, Brandon Woodruff ends up accepting the qualifying offer from the Brewers. I am a little disappointed because I think he still could have gotten a little bit of a long-term contract even coming off of injury. Brandon has been a powerhouse and a workhorse for the Brewers for the past 5 years. It's hard not to see the Brewers still competing next year, but if for any reason they end up falling out of contention, I can see this being a really good deadline piece for them. And lastly, it kind of seems like Trent Grisham just fucked the Yankees. Obviously, the Yankees are in the pursuit of either Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger at the moment. And it really did seem like Trent Grisham was going to go for a multi-year deal. After the season that he just had, I feel like that was the best time to bank on it. Not everyone's convinced that he's going to be able to repeat what he just did. But now Trent is going to be taking up a roster spot on the Yankees 40-man, and they will not be receiving that additional prospect. I don't think the Yankees were expecting him to accept this qualifying offer, and they were hoping to kind of get that prospect in return, but they're going to have to implement Trent in their plans now, so we're going to have to see how that pans out for the Yankees in the long run. Next up, we have quite the list of non-tenured players, but there's a few really shocking ones here that I want to go over. This is probably the most interesting news of the offseason so far. Starting for me personally from least interesting to most interesting, I'm not going to go over all of them, just the big ones in my opinion. This one just kind of made me laugh because Alek Manoah ended up getting non-tenured by the Braves. I'm going to be real with you, I don't think I had any clue that he was with the Braves currently. Sad to see his fall from grace. 2 or 3 years ago, he was one of the best starting pitchers in baseball, and now he's just fallen off a cliff. I hope whatever team ends up taking a chance chance on Manoah is able to turn his career around because he is a fun pitcher. Next up, both Christopher Morel and Jake Fraley were also non-tendered by the Tampa Bay Rays. Fraley is unfortunate, but I'm really disappointed to see what's happened to Christopher Morel after he had such an amazing couple years with the Cubs there. I really thought he was about to take off and soar with the Rays, but it just never ended up working out. I think Morel is a great low-risk, high-reward player that a lot of teams should be looking into right now. Next up, we got Nathanial Lowe being DFA'd by the Red Sox. I don't think this one's too shocking. Now, I still consider Nathanial Lowe to be a high-impact bat. I think with the free agents on the market, that hurts Nathanial Lowe in the long run because there's a lot of similar archetypes with Pete, Kyle, Josh Naylor formerly, that I think Nathanial Lowe is going to be kind of like the afterthought in that whole free agency class. A pretty shocking one for me is that my Los Angeles Dodgers ended up non-tendering Evan Phillips while he's recovering from injuries. Evan Phillips was a dog for a couple years there, and I thought that they were going to wait around to see what he was going to be able to provide with this bullpen, especially after the struggles of last year. There's always a chance something works out in the future, but I'm super sad to see Evan Phillips go. Now, lastly on the non-tendered list is easily the biggest bombshell of this offseason so far, the non-tendering of both Jonah Heim and Adolis Garcia, former World Series hero, just a mere 2-3 years ago. What's happened to Adolis Garcia is insane to me. What was once considered a slug-heavy lineup has just disappeared, and in just 2 years, Adolis Garcia has lost his roster spot with the Rangers. The first ever World Series victory for the Rangers would not have happened without Adolis Garcia, so it's super sad and unfortunate to see his career with the Rangers end this way. Now, I think there's a lot of teams who are going to be looking at him bib in hand, fork and knife ready to go. I think Adolis is the perfect example of a low-risk, high-reward player. Although the defense might not be stellar in the outfield, the bat upside could be enormous. Especially if you can end up in a contending team that is playing in the playoffs, his story could turn around real quick. I think a part of me is still really kind of hurt that the Rangers didn't hold on and try to make something happen. I'm not the hugest Rangers fan in the world. They're kind of one of my secondary favorite teams though. Either way, I'm so sad to see him go. Now lastly, we have the first big trade to occur this offseason, and it's between the Baltimore Orioles and the Los Angeles Angels. The Orioles are sending Grayson Rodrigues, former stud pitcher, over to the Angels in exchange for Taylor Ward. Now, I am so confused on this deal on so many levels. First of all, news ended up coming out that Grayson Rodrigues never even received a physical. Now, after the injury history that man has sustained, I cannot believe that there was no physical done beforehand. That being said, for the Orioles to give up on Grayson Rodrigues when he still has about 3 to 4 years of control, if I remember correctly, for a 1-year rental of Taylor Ward when they already have outfield spots filled, makes me think there's a bigger issue with Grayson Rodrigues that we are not aware of. Now, for the Angels, if Grayson Rodrigues can be any shape or form of his former self, this can be a steal. It's hard to let go of Taylor Ward because that man has been a staple of that Angels lineup for the past 5+ years now, I believe. Letting go of a franchise player like that, or at least a face of the franchise in a way, is always tough. It's never going to end well. Fans are obviously extremely upset. I'm upset as a semi-Angels fan myself. But if Grayson Rodrigues can pan out like he can, this is a steal. Anyways, guys, that does it for the most recent episode of our weekly recaps regarding the MLB offseason. If I missed anything, make sure to let me know. What do you guys think about all this information that just dropped in this past week? If you like this format, let me know. That way I can keep continuing on with it. But with that being said, make sure to subscribe and give me a like if you haven't already. Comment what you want to see next. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Bye-bye.